friends, welcome back to my channel. Just ignore the weird angle. I am currently about to go to my last midwife appointment, but I got here early on purpose so that I could record this, because these days finding a quiet moment in my day to film videos is a little bit of a challenge, but I wouldn't have it any other way. But yeah, I wanted to share Serena's birth story. I just love hearing other people's birth stories. And yeah, I did have a home birth with her. So Monday, July 7th, it was actually Micah's birthday, our oldest son. And I had actually, that previous Saturday, I was at 41 weeks at that point. And I had texted my midwife asking her if it would be okay if I, took Midwife's brew. If you're not familiar with what Midwife's brew is, you can look it up. But then at that point, she had asked if I would be willing to wait till Monday, because she is short-staffed right now, and they were having a lot of births back to back, and they had not gotten sleep for a couple nights in a row. And I was like, yes, I will totally wait. If she does not decide to, come on her own before Monday, I will just wait till then to take the midwife's brew and let you get some rest, because I was like, well, I don't want her to come to my birth, with having lost a couple nights of sleep either. So anyway, nothing happened over the weekend. Monday, I decided to wait till the afternoon because we wanted to take Micah, do something for his birthday. And so after we got back from that, Monday afternoon, I took the midwife's brew probably around 2:30. And yeah, within a couple hours, I was, having contractions, things like that. It was starting to do its thing. And then at supper time, I was, sitting at the table, eating supper with my family. And I stood up to get one of the children something. And I had a burst of what I thought was my water breaking. But later on, you'll see that it was not actually my water breaking, but I thought my water was breaking. It was enough to, I changed underwear, got all wet again. Finally, I put a pad on, and yeah, so in my mind, my water broke. So David was like, okay, are we going to take the children to my in-laws? We had talked about just keeping them at home, and if I gave birth during the night, they could just sleep through it. But I could tell he kind of, he felt more comfortable with taking them to my in-laws. So with me thinking my water broke, I was like, okay, this could, happen really fast. I was believing for a quick birth. If you follow me on Facebook and Instagram, I had talked about that. But so he took the children after supper. He took the children to my in-laws. Things started, I continued to have contractions throughout the night. I did get some sleep, not like I normally would, because the contractions were getting to the point where they were intense enough that I could not sleep through them. So Tuesday, all day, I also had contractions, and I was really glad at that point that we did decide to take the children to my in-laws, just because it allowed me to just focus on resting as much as I could, and just, not have to worry about, are the children okay, and all of that. Like, I knew they were taken care of, they were in good hands, and it just helped me to relax better. But yeah, I was having super intense contractions all day Tuesday, but they were like 10 minutes apart. And I was just like, this just is so weird. Like, the contractions were intense enough that you would think they should be like, a couple minutes apart. But like, they were very all over. Like, sometimes they were 3 to 5 minutes apart. The next time it was 10 minutes. Like, they were very inconsistent. But like I said, when I was having contractions, they were like super intense. And so it just made it really, because they were so intense, like I couldn't sleep through them. I was getting, you know, I was honestly just getting to the point where I was exhausted. Because I had hardly gotten any sleep since Monday afternoon. But then Tuesday evening, it was around 10:30, I was finally like, I texted my midwife. I had been, you know, giving her updates up to this point and stuff. But I texted my midwife and I was like, is this normal to have this intense contractions and they be like 10 minutes apart? And she was finally like, just video call me. I want to see you, you know, go through a contraction. She wanted to like actually watch me like go as I was having a contraction. And she was like, yeah, I can see that these are intense, that we're going to pack up our things and we'll head that way. She lives like an hour from me, and she said, you know, by the time they get things packed up on the road and everything, it could be an hour and a half before they get there. And so, yeah, at that point, David started praying with me, which he was just, honestly, I don't know that I would have made it through without him. Like, he was there by my side. He was praying with me. He was encouraging me, all the way through. And even though he was also just, by the end of it, he was so tired. But yeah, we started praying. He started praying in tongues over me, and I'm not here to, this is not going to be a debate if praying in tongues is for today or not, or what you believe and all that. But I do believe in praying in tongues. David and I both pray in tongues, and it's just, we've seen very powerful things happen in our life through it. But anyway, he just started praying in tongues over me, and I just felt so much peace. I felt so much, like the pain even started to go away. And if you follow me on Facebook and Instagram, you know that I had talked about how, like, I believe we can have pain-free births. We can see in, you know, Genesis, part of the curse was Eve having painful birth. Like, that was part of the curse. But then Jesus dying on the cross, he redeemed that curse. And so therefore, I believe we should be able to have pain-free births. But it's something that we have to take a hold of, to access through our faith, putting our faith in action. And I truly experienced that. Like, from that hour to hour and a half from when I got off the phone with the midwife till she got there, like I said, David was praying over me, and I just felt so much like it was almost like how it would feel having an epidural. There was that little pain. And looking back now, I wish I would have just asked the midwife or I wouldn't have asked her to come when I did, because I truly believe we could have had a birth of just me and David together, and had her wait to come till just after she was born, and it could have been completely pain-free. And I'm not saying the midwife showing up like ruined that, but when she got there, you know, she started asking questions, and she wanted to check things and stuff. And so it just kind of took us out of, we were in the spirit, and it just brought us kind of back into, you know, I don't know, the natural realm, I guess. But yeah, then she ended up, when she got there, she checked me to see how far I was dilated. I was dilated to a 7 at that point, 7 centimeters dilated. And they were, at that point, my contractions were getting closer together. And then, so, yeah, after she checked me, I was going to do a water birth. I even had the pool there. But I made the mistake of I had to have a special attachment to put the hose on my kitchen sink to go to the pool. And I waited too long. I waited till last minute to ask David to get the attachment. Well, then he couldn't get it. They were out. They didn't get it in till later that week. And so all of that, we just ended up not using the pool. We could have, took pictures and carried it to the pool that way. But I just said, we'll just leave it. I did, though, like a couple times throughout that evening, I did go into just our bathtub, and that I felt like that helped a lot. But by midnight, 1 o'clock, I was just getting to the point where I was so exhausted. I was so in my head at this point. I was exhausted. The pain was super intense, and I was just so in my head. My midwife was telling me, just breathe through it, relax, breathe through it. In my mind, I'm thinking, yeah, you can say that. You're not the one laboring here. But I truly believe that if I would have stopped myself, gotten back into just focusing on, how we had been doing before the midwife got there, like just praying, even though David was still praying over me at this point, I just got so in my head. And I let the pain distract me from just focusing on God and the fact that He can, I can have a pain-free birth. I have to access it through my faith. But anyway, so about, I don't know what time it was actually, when I started pushing, I felt like after I got out of the tub for, I think it was the second time I had gotten into the tub, after I got out, I really felt like I needed to push at that point. And so, I got back in bed and started pushing. I think on the second push, that's when my water actually broke. And my midwife said the previous fluid that I passed or whatever at supper time was probably, I didn't even realize this, but apparently there's another sac outside of the actual sac where the baby's in that also has fluid, and she said that was probably what the fluid was, not my actual water breaking. But yeah, my water broke the second push, and then after that, she was just coming. My midwife was like, don't push, she's coming too fast. So I had to hold back from pushing, which was really hard to do. But from there on, she almost came out on her own without me even pushing, which was such a blessing that the actual labor part went so fast with all of the previous contractions and everything I was having. It was just, I praise God for it, because if I would have had to push for a couple hours, I just feel like I wouldn't have, with as exhausted as I was, I felt like I wouldn't have been able to. But she was born at 2:57 a.m. on Wednesday morning, July 9th. So she's been with us for a little over a month now, and it's just so hard to believe that we're here already. But it was after she was born with, she had the cord wrapped around her stomach and her neck, but thankfully it was not so tight that she couldn't breathe. She could still breathe. She cried when she was born, but it took the midwife a little bit to get her unwrapped. But then we got to I got to hold her. Something I love about home births is you can just, you have that first, the midwife will wait. If you want her to, she'll wait to cut the cord until there's absolutely no pulse or anything left in it. And you can just bask in that first, the first hour. I just had her on my chest. It was just David and I and her. And it was such a blessing. Such a blessing. If you have never experienced a home birth, I would encourage you to, I realize, if you have complications through pregnancy and stuff, that might not be an option. But for me, my last two births were home births. My first two births were hospital births. with epidurals, and I would just prefer a home birth any day if I can. If my pregnancy goes well, it's just such a blessing. Nothing quite like it. You can just relax better. But yeah, that is her story. She was born, my midwife instantly was like, she's a big baby. I'm like, she looks tiny, but my midwife, she's seen a lot of births, and so she can instantly tell, like, if a baby's big. And she was like, I'm guessing she's 9 pounds, and she was 2 ounces off. She was 8 pounds 14 ounces, my biggest baby yet. And so yeah, I don't know if that's what made her, she was stubborn. She was 10 days late, but we are very grateful for she has been such a happy, content baby. Could not ask for a better baby. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this, and we'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.